I was just an ordinary guy. My name is Mahmoud, a 17-year-old boy living in a small town where nothing really happened. But everything changed the day I found that clock. It wasn't just a clock. It was old, covered in strange symbols and ticking backwards. I discovered it in my grandfather's attic, buried under piles of dusty books and forgotten tools. The moment I touched it, something inside it clicked. Time stopped. Everything around me froze. The wind, the birds, even the dust in the air. Then suddenly, time reversed. I saw my own footsteps rewind. My hand moved back. And before I could scream, I was no longer in my house. I was standing in a city I didn't recognize. It was dark, filled with tall towers made of obsidian and glowing lines of blue light. The sky was cracked like broken glass, and two moons hung overhead. I wasn't in the past. I wasn't in the future. I was in something outside of time. There, I met two boys, Younes, a genius inventor from a forgotten age, and Youssef, a former guardian who had lost everything. They had been trapped in this time-looped city for decades, never aging, never escaping. How did you get here? Younes asked me, eyeing the clock in my hand. When I showed it to them, their eyes widened. That's the anchor clock, Youssef whispered. The only device that can control the flow. The flow, they explained, is the river of all time. Past, future, present, intertwined like threads. And someone or something was corrupting it. A force they called the Void Master. Suddenly, the skies cracked open. A dark shape emerged, floating above us, cloaked in smoke, with no face, only a mask made of shifting shadows. The Void Master had found us. He wants the clock, Younes yelled. We have to move. We ran through broken streets, diving into ancient tunnels below the city. The walls pulsed with energy, memories of battles, kings, and lost worlds played like echoes around us. Why me? I asked them. Because you're the last traveler, Youssef replied, and the only one left who can fix the timeline. In the heart of the tunnel, we found a massive door. It only opened when I pressed the clock against it. Inside, a chamber full of gears the size of mountains, spinning through light and shadow. The core of time. We discovered the truth. The core was broken. The past was bleeding into the future. Eras were colliding, and the Void Master was once human. A guardian like Youssef, corrupted by power. He wanted to erase all time and create his own perfect loop. You have to reset the core, Younes said, handing me a glowing key. But there's a price, Youssef warned. You'll be erased. No one will remember you, not even us. I looked at them, my only friends now. The only people who understood what I had seen. And I made my choice. I stepped into the light. Mahmoud and Joel followed the glowing thread deeper into the forgotten ruins. Strange echoes bounced from the walls, voices not quite human, speaking languages that felt familiar yet undecipherable. In the center of a broken hall stood a floating obelisk, cracked with time but pulsing with power. Mahmoud reached toward it, and as his fingers brushed the surface, visions surged into his mind. He saw an ancient city bathed in golden light, where people bent time like clay. Among them stood a figure, himself, but older, wiser, different. Youssef's voice broke through the trance. This is where the cycle started, he whispered, and maybe where it ends. The obelisk cracked open, revealing a hollow core. Inside was a mechanical heart, still beating. Mahmoud knew instinctively. This was no machine. It was a memory, a warning. The walls around them shimmered, revealing more symbols. This time, clear. Only those who carry the past may shape the timeline ahead. Mahmoud turned to Joel, eyes glowing with the same light from the obelisk. The past isn't gone, it's waiting. As the dust of the old world faded behind him, Mahmoud and Joel arrived at a vast land cloaked in violet mist. A crescent-shaped moon hovered low in the sky. They weren't alone. Strange creatures stood silently in the distance, tall, with elongated limbs and glowing eyes that blinked in sync with a humming sound in the air. Joel whispered, "This isn't a world, it's a memory." Mahmoud felt a pull in his chest, like the land was calling him by name. The air rippled with echoes, voices and languages he couldn't understand, and yet they resonated in his mind like forgotten dreams. He stepped forward. Every step lit up the path beneath him with symbols, ancient, shifting, alive. Joel reached out to stop him, but it was too late. The ground split open, not with violence, but with welcome. Mahmoud fell, not downward, but inward, into a chamber that pulsed like a heart. Inside, he saw a reflection of himself, older, wiser, eyes like starlight. The reflection spoke without moving its lips. To save what was, you must understand what will be. Suddenly, Mahmoud gasped. He was back in the mist with Joel beside him. But now, something had changed. Time no longer flowed forward. It circled them, waiting. Mahmoud looked at Yusef. "Did you hear it too?" Joel nodded slowly. "Time is no longer our enemy. It's our map." They followed the glowing path, which twisted around ancient towers and silent statues, each one a frozen echo of a forgotten civilization. The symbols beneath their feet began to arrange themselves, forming words Mahmoud could finally read. The first traveler failed. The second vanished. The third must choose. Mahmoud's heart raced. On the third, a loud tremor shook the mist. A voice, deep and metallic, boomed across the sky. "You have entered the nexus of echoes. Your soul is the final key." Suddenly, the mist swirled violently, and a portal emerged. A swirling storm of memories, realities, and timelines. Yusef grabbed Mahmoud's shoulder. "If we enter, there's no going back." Mahmoud took a deep breath. "Then let's finish what we started." Inside the portal, time collapsed. Days, years, centuries rushed past their eyes. They saw cities being born and destroyed, versions of themselves they had never lived. Mahmoud as a king, as a beggar, as a shadow. Yusef vanished, then reappeared with silver eyes and a scar that hadn't been there before. "I've seen the end," he said, "and the beginning is hidden in your past." A final vision appeared. Mahmoud's childhood home, but older, darker. His name was etched into its walls in fire. In the center of the house, a clock without hands ticked endlessly. Mahmoud touched it. The world exploded into light. When the light faded, Mahmoud stood alone in the same field where his journey began. But now, the stars whispered his name. The sky had changed. A symbol glowed on his wrist, the same one from the chamber. Joel appeared beside him, holding a new device. "We didn't just travel through time, Mahmoud. We became part of it." Mahmoud smiled, not with triumph, but with peace. So this is what it means to rewrite fate. A final rift opened in the air, not chaotic, but calm, like a curtain being drawn aside. Mahmoud and Joel stepped through, not to escape, but to guide. Because the story wasn't about finding the future, it was about becoming it.